Okay, I've got to keep it down because Dan's sleeping. Okay, so I've got 40 questions here. I'm going to try and answer as easily as I can. What is the meaning of life to me? Well, the meaning of life is basically to dodge the obstacles, to jump the hurdles, to achieve the achievements, to be able to withstand and uphold your going forward of the people that pass, the people that walk out of your life, for the ridicule, for the embarrassment of which you give yourself through the lack of self-esteem of accrediting yourself to the degree of what it's worth, and to say, I am the joke. So the meaning of life is to love, is to show empathy, and to be compassionate. It is to learn, it is to live, it is to know that you may trip and bruise your knee, but guess what? It made you jump that hurdle next time. And to know that my eyes look really Chinese in this, and I don't mean that to be sort of for Chinese people to get really pissed off, but sort of you could say that, Martin, you look as pale as Casper the Ghost, and I could say, well, that's pretty much right, because I probably look like Casper the Ghost. What is smartness to me? Smartness, I would have to say, is based on a medium, and a medium of observation, of interpretation, as being what is smart. Because I could say I'm smart for what I do, but people could say, hey, you're not smart because you're not helping yourself in the now, here, and in the present, and in the near future. On the side note, I'm helping myself in the long run. Smartness is what you do to help. If every element that you do is judged out of 100%, you try and keep it up there to the 75%. And if it's not in the 75% and you want to do something that helps you in the long run and you get marked 20% out of it, it is to do what 75% or 80% or 90%, but keep it in the back of your mind to push your vision forward. What is intelligence? Well, intelligence to me is basically being able to work things out. It is being able to comprehend things at a multi-scaled situational scale of what it's worth, to the merit it holds, and to the reason it stands for. And to know that intelligence is different to smartness. Smartness, everyone, even if they've got fucking rats or cockroaches rattling between their two ears, can tell what's smart. Intelligence, someone could be smart but not intelligent and couldn't even comprehend what something intelligent could be. So intelligent is basically on the interworkings of the construct of the essence of the core of what it is. Are you religious? If so, what religion? Well, sorry, I was brought up Catholic. I'm Buddhist. I learned a bit about Buddhism. I respect Jesus. Why did Jesus have to help lepers with their arms falling off and help prostitutes? Because guess what? He inspired me to do what I'm doing now. And guess what? I've got to help them. And if Jesus wasn't around and I did my part, I probably wouldn't want to help the lepers and the prostitutes. But that's not for me. That's not for my daughter. That's not for my family. That's for someone else who wants to take that on board. So we'll leave that to the real priests. Religion, to me, is basically every religion has been infiltrated to take out an element of truth and to put in an element of bullshit to stop you knowing the true aspect of how it all works, to make your life beneficial and advantageous. Are you spiritual? Explain what it means to you. Spiritual is the essence. It is the core of what was first formed before we went into the 3D or 4D, including time. We're actually expanding to the 5th day. And everything is symbology. For me, if someone says, what does 3 represent for you? I'd say God. What does 2 represent to you? I'd say Geo. What does 1 represent? I would say G from Glenorchy, getting down. What does 5 represent to you? I'd say gods to infinity. So basically, came from Glenorchy, went O, scored a D, went plural, went to infinity. What is the definition of God to you? Well, the definition of God to me could be, we created a simulation and we put the fairest person in charge to say, you can't act, we want to play it out. So say if I won the game, hypothetically, and for an example, i.e. an example, and I'll give you the i.e. is that I win it and they go, Martin, play out your life to what it means, but when you pass, you will be in charge of the next one to say that you are the fairest person, because through intent, through energy, through internalization, through externalization of making dialogue, through the vibrations of the flapping of the lips, you've said more and you've done more to help the planet than other people have cared to even dream about. And you've been granted to be the person to judge. So Martin, you've got 10 trillion atoms. We're going to half it to 5 trillion atoms. And we're going to then, when you win again, we're going to half it again. We're going to half it again. So God could be something that is basically can't act. And Lucifer, maybe Lucifer could act. Maybe Lucifer was God's friend, but the Masons took it out of the Bible and made Lucifer to be bad. But maybe Lucifer is the person that could act. And God's like, oh my God, someone's fucking pulled out my power switch and I've been turned off. And everyone else has taken my projection, but they've been hacked. And it's turned to shit and my fucking creation has gone fucking upside down and I don't know what to do. Satan, go in there and fix it. And Satan's like, I've got to fix it. And Satan's like, I'm like God. And Satan goes before the simulation of the hackage and goes, you're GOD. That's 3 symbols. What number do you want to go as? And it's like, well, I'm going to play this smart. I'm going to go 666. And the hackage goes, well, I'm 999. That's half of me. We may as well, or the opposite of me, we may as well let it. And what does Satan say? Well, Satan said, just like our vision's upside down and inside out and back to front, maybe it's going to go upside down. So imagine this. Imagine that if a comprehension of a word or a symbol advanced on a multi-scaled situational scale, that every other person matched up to it to a certain degree, and it actually changed new onlookers to what their perception of it was. So picture this, right? You've got all these crazy people out there with Bibles that haven't even studied a dictionary to even know what a fucking word stands for. And they're reading it. And an onlooker of a newbie gets it and starts reading the Bible. And their interpretation of their first go at it is of the same essence of everyone else that can't fucking understand it to their skew-if limited form. And that becomes a solid state of a static state of their first interpretation of the first readout. So what it is like saying no one reads a fucking dictionary, and they should. If you're going to read the Bible, sorry Pope Francis, but you should read the fucking dictionary. Not you, I'm not swearing at you, I'm just talking about all the crazy people out there that say that they should do whatever. So my definition of God is basically consciousnness or a simulation to overcome the ego. Do you have a mental illness? If so, share. I have anxiety. I've suffered depression. They think I have schizophrenia because they can't comprehend that I think that people can read our thoughts. IMCs, industrial military complexes, have got technology to broadcast electrical hallucinations into your mind. Have I gone through hell? Fucking oath I have. Do I think I'm suffering a mental illness now? No, but I can be wrong. So I'd note that I can be wrong. but I'm proud enough to say that I can be wrong. What is your opinion of what is crazy? Well, what is the definition of crazy? Is crazy something that is so out there and so wrong that it's just not right? Or is crazy something that's so out there and so real that it is real and crazy at the same time and is true, but is in a form of crazy being so that, wow. And there is a fine line between crazy and genius. So all I say is if you're going to be in the limelight and you keep on flapping those lips, you're going to talk shit by the end of it. Have a break, have a Kit Kat, even have a Snickers if you get angry. What is your dream job? Well, my dream job is basically to, I want to buy Tasmania for $500 billion. So people like, Martin, do you know how many years Australia has to make 500 billion, and you want to somehow make 500 billion to buy Tasmania? Well, I'm going to first work on helping Trump, help America, go to America. Then I'm going to help the royal family establish a business that they make income and revenue. So their money that they get through the taxes, they can say, hey, we're going to give this money back to the people. 75% we're going to give back to the people. 25% we're going to put into a business, an initiative to help the people be able to make more money through educational programs and incentives and basically make it more prosperous. And then I'm going to go into politics. I'm going to be a billionaire and I'm going to say, hey, Tassie people, I'm going to buy Tasmania and create it into Martania. And the tax bracket starts at 100 grand. So if you don't make over 100 grand, you don't have to pay tax. I'm going to create an industrial military complex for every country in Tasmania under my control, under my guidance, under my supervision, in conjunction with their country, with it outlined as being that I don't need to know what your IMC does in your country, but we're going to make intelligence and we're going to make this the safest place. And basically, we're going to grow a whole heap of marijuana and we're going to make rope out of it. We're going to make plastics out of it. We're going to make medicines out of it. We're basically going to create a pharmaceutical business that is legalizing illicit substances, but you have to be over the age of 30 to try the hardcore stuff. So once you're 30, and guess what? I'm 33. So that's 3 years into the going for me. So I'd have to say in my lifetime, I know what's right and what's wrong, but it's taken me a long time to get there. Would I want it to be illegal for people when I was 18 at my state and my starting state of 18? Don't think so. But guess what? We're going to create it so that when people are 30 in the era that we create this, that they're going to be like the wisdom of a 60-year-old. And basically, I'm going to work with Kim Jong-un. I believe that he's going to give me some land. I'm going to give North Korea like 50% of the tax that I make out of it. I'm going to give Trump some land to create his own country, and Putin his own country in North Korea, as well as Martania. I am basically going to create a business to create a way of entertainment or a service to the ETs. And I'll say, okay, for what it's worth, I want elements, I want minerals, I want metals, rare metals. I want to create my own currency. But guess what? I'm not going to piss off the Federal Reserve. I say, Federal Reserve, you can buy into me, but I want gold and I want hard cash money. So you can have 50% of the shares in my new currency and you can buy it out with your money. With your money, that will come in handy, because guess what? We're not going to phase out your money. We're creating another field. We're creating another market. And guess what? Your money isn't worth anything to the ETs, but my money that I'm giving to you to have access is going to be worth something. And we could take the piss out of ourselves. So you could be like the Rothschilds and go, okay, Martin, what do I have to do? You've given me 50% access to buy shares in your mint. What do I have to do? And it's like, we've got to take the piss in ourselves. We've got to cry. We've got to mend our ways. Got to become better people. But we need to do it through the arts. And we've got to have no enemies. And we've got to march on like soldiers, going into battle, thinking we're going to die in all to save our planet and ourselves and our family and our civilization, in so creating a standing point in a universal scale of people going, I think now is the time to get our shit together. If you could upload 3 degrees into your mind without having to study them, what would they be? Well, I'm pretty good at psychology, but I'd like to be a psychologist. Law. So psychology, law, and a degree in human behavior. What is being a great teacher to you? A great teacher to me is basically saying that if I want to get my point across to someone, so say if I'm being the teacher to myself, I don't hurt my feelings by saying, Martin, give up smoking, you're going to die, and you're not going to see your children, or you're not going to get to where you want, or you need to lose more weight, or I don't know. Being a good teacher is being able to look at what you need to work at and outline the subcategories in many forms across the degrees of the dimensions of everything it covers. So if you needed to tell someone to lose weight, you could go, running a jog for me makes me loose as shit, makes me fit as fuck. Ice cream is bad for you. Did you know how it was made for you? I don't know. That's just some shit. I'll move on to the next one. If you were in charge of a country, what would you do? So firstly, in charge of Australia, what would I do? Well, Malcolm Turnbull, I would say get in contact with the confidence machine, like you were on the aircraft carrier, and just ride it out in confident and say, hey, for 6 months you're going to be as confident as shit to ride this out. And Pauline Hanson, when I channeled for Pauline Hanson why she didn't want the tax to come in, and I channeled and said that she was given options and was going to be bought out and she was never going to meet that, and then the look on her face the next day, oh my God, I did that and I was right. And then she's like, oh, I don't want to do it. Yes, I want to do it. No, I don't want to do it. I did that to Pauline. Love my work. The thing is, we've got to set an example, but what we need to do is make it prosperous. We need to make it look advantageous, not to yourself, but to other people in grabbing the gauntlet to make something out of their life. You've got to create an initiative for people working in the public service that if they've got an idea, then basically they can be able to take 1 or 2 weeks off as in annual leave, an added annual leave, to work on a thesis to bring to the table that could be worked on, that could be studied by the intelligence communities working in conjunction with Parliament to be able to work on something to help our situation. If I could be a dictator for a day, what would I do? A dictator. Well, I'd say that I wouldn't do what Hitler did. And when I mean a dictator, Kim Jong-un isn't a dictator. He's a chairman. So Kim Jong-un, don't think that I'm talking about you. A dictator is basically, what was Hitler's problem? He was on 5 points of pure ice a day. And he was a smart person, but he was cooked as fuck. And he was basically fucking lost his marbles. So if I was a dictator, okay, a dictator. So dictate. So Martin, you're a dictator of Australia. What do you do? Well, I would dictate and say that, first off, no one has to pay tax unless they're above 100 grand. how do we get around to making the money to give ourselves push to make up for the people, or the people making under 100 grand? I would say that we've got to make a movie like Interdriven, the movie on global plasticity towards the end, to make it across 3 categorizations of G-rated, MA and R, and even 4 as X-rated. G's for the whole family, MA is pretty hardcore, R is fucked up, and X-rated is like, I don't know if I should fucking kill myself if this is going on. But at the end, when I pushed through it and got over that hurdle, I realized that in the ending, it saved it and sold the story and what it was. So if I was a dictator for a day, I'd make a movie through the arts that basically incorporated the main countries that had money to be able to pay for it. If someone wanted to watch the movie once, I'd say it's $20 to watch it once. If they want to watch it a second time, it's $15. If they want to watch it a third time, it's $10. If they want to watch it a fourth time, it's $5, and it's $5 every time. American TV, I'm sorry, but American IMCs infiltrated us by giving us bullshit TV that basically they give us something to think about and they put it in your face, and then they give you like 10 minutes to be able to conjiggle it and comprehend it, and there's no other added information because you forget about it. What is it about that movie that as you get older, that you watch it and you gain more information and you gain more of an understanding? Or you watch again and you go, hey, when I was working out what that thing was and comprehending it, I missed out on all this other stuff and it was good. We create a movie that someone could watch 100 times sober and get 100 different fucking interpretations to add to their understanding to it. And if they took some mushrooms, they would get even more understanding to it. And we put it across the 3 categorizations or 4 categorizations. And we basically make it with other countries involved. We get other religions involved. We get all the religions to interwork and interwoven as interwoven weaves that string it all together. And like the puppet masters, we dance a little song to you. Little puppets dancing, making fun of us. Okay. If I could choose how much I would win in a lottery, how much would it be? Okay, I'm going to say the minimum possible. I want to be able to spend $3 million on a house. I want to probably spend 180 grand on a few cars, and I want $1 million per year on a funding for my educational think tank, incorporating my good friends into it, plus experts around the world. Why do I want my good friends like Dan to work for me? Because I know that Dan is a genuine person, John is a genuine person, James is a genuine person. They've all got attributes in different areas that are outside my field. They're all people that aren't going to weasel their way into trying to fuck me over. And basically, we're going to have a call, and this is what I recommend to everyone. Okay, you want to win something like a status of where you place yourself, and everyone sucks up to you, and you don't even know the nature of what's true and what's fake. And you live your life to the very end till you die, and then you go, that was all fake bullshit. They don't even care for me now that I'm dead. They've got my money and they've done whatever. I wouldn't want that on anyone. So basically, I think the minimal is possible. And I think that you should give 20% or 15% or 30% of your money away. But not just giving it to some fuckwit in the street that's going to spend it on drugs. You could go for a walk and meet some homeless people and say, hey, here's $100. Tell me a story. Tomorrow, think up. Okay? You say to someone who's a drug addict or something who's homeless, and say, here's $200, spend $100 on drugs and spend $100 on food, and see me tomorrow and brainstorm on what you're going to think up and tell me tomorrow. And if I think it's good, I'll give you $1,000. If I think that's good and the next day you come around, I'll give you a house. And I'll straighten you out and I'll get the best support for you. And you help that person out and they end up teaching you something about your life to advance your situation. I think that is the glory. What are your views on drugs and illegal, if illegal, or prescription? Well, I believe the new drugs that are going to be in place are going to be sending vibrations, frequencies through you to resonate and conjiggle and put everything to fall in place for you to feel fantastic. I believe that meditation is going to be a key. What would happen if I hadn't had drugs? Well, I don't think I'd be so open-minded. Have I stuffed myself up on drugs before? Yes, I have. Would I want my daughter on drugs? No, I definitely don't. What would I say to my daughter? I say meditate, become spiritual, exercise, and eat good food, be around good people, and you will get the same worth and degree out of it without a come down. Okay, if you could write a Hollywood movie script, what would the storyline and the plot be? Well, it would be my interdriven or into the future or through the eyes of Martin as publicized in the global, as in global plasticity. I think it's going to make a lot of money. I think it is 19. If you could meet the following people, what would you say? What questions would you ask? What statements would you want to be heard and listened to? And what wishes would you want them to follow? Trump. What would I say to Trump? Well, mate, the second coming. Seriously, for what you've done on the scale that it has been publicized out to the masses, even though the fake news have not covered it, you're going to be remembered like Jesus. What questions do you have to ask Trump? My question is, now I haven't thought of this. My question is, Trump. Fuck, question for Trump. It stumped me. My question to you, Trump, is to be remembered as a genuine, heart-warmed, merit-based, credible prophet, is to outline the facts and the subcategories of what you've done, and being able to take compliments and to take those good thoughts passed on to you without you. So this is more of a statement than a question. Okay, the Teo said that once you try and define me or outline who I am nothing. And I don't know what to say. Okay, what statements would you like to be heard and listened to? Well, even though I've done what Jesus has done, I definitely don't want to be remembered and have every single dialogue through every IMC recording my information for in 1,000 years to be outlined as into this is what you've got to do to make an impact. I'd have to say, basically, things are random. Reality is random. And you can't get the same exact outcome by doing exactly the same thing in a different entity form of that dimension. What wishes would you want them to follow? Well, I'd say without you, Trump, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have the protection that I have today. And I wouldn't have a firm feeling of self-accomplishment to what I've done. It has been concluded. Putin, what do I have to say? Well, don't feel bad when people say that you're using a lot of humor. I think that's good. And what question do you have to ask? Okay. These are all things I haven't thought through, so what question do you have to ask?